When you walk away, you don't hear me say. Those lyrics sang by an incredibly talented Utada Hikaru, paired with mystic backtrack, always made me turn my head to the TV when it played as a kid. I'd stare at the graphics of Kingdom Hearts, a game consisting of an anime character being friends and fighting with Goofy and Donald Duck. But I could somehow take it seriously. I never picked it up, though. On top of growing up in a Nintendo console-centric family, it just felt blocked off for me because I'm a girl, and being autistic, I felt overwhelmed asking my mom to get me something that was so different than what I'd usually ask her for, especially something meant for boys, so I never ended up playing it. Since then, I've left home and figured out I have autism, and figured out that impacted my gender identity, and Square Enix made the lovely decision to port Kingdom Hearts to the PC. I didn't have an excuse anymore, so I bought it. When deciding what game to play for this class, I considered that I wanted to find a game that was able to teach kids a lot in a manner where they retained the information throughout their time playing the game. That's when I remembered I just got Kingdom Hearts, which is meant for kids. It's fairly complex, and I hadn't started playing it yet. So let's go with that. What Kingdom Hearts does well is using the just-in-time approach. It does well to put you in the shoes of a boy named Sora. You're going through this adventure of saving your friends. Information is given to you as you need it. Oftentimes in class, we're given a bunch of information, then we need to take some tests weeks later. Anita Nelton argued that the teaching and learning strategy known as just-in-time teaching promotes active use of class time. Active class time means active learning. What students learn is stuff they needed to be able to do right then and there, and they kept having to recall whatever info when they ran into similar situations. Many never have to relook at guides because they learned whatever right when they needed it to achieve something important. Teachers should get in the habit of giving context to what the students learn. Like if you run an in-class fake candy shop to teach kids to count money, when will they use it again? Why do they need this now? Even if this situation has to be a made-up role-play situation, teaching things with as much context as possible makes it much more likely that they learn what you are trying to teach them. The more you can engage students with outside context, the more intrinsic motivation you can give them. Kingdom Hearts does this by really making you believe you are Sora. Sora's actions and the consequences of them are yours. His team's victories are yours. In the beginning of the game, you go through a long tutorial period. Arguably, one of the reasons you go through that is to bond with Sora's friends, to see them as your friends. So when they get kidnapped at the end of the tutorial sequence, you have that internal motivation to save them. When you interact with Riku later on in the game, he's changed, and the breakdown in communication really gets to you. Pierre-Yves Audissier and Frederick Kaplan, in their typology of computational approaches, define intrinsic motivation as a spontaneous exploration and curiosity. To witness this, you could read the back cover of a fiction book that might really interest kids, but the book itself has vocabulary they don't know yet. You have given kids the intrinsic motivation to read and learn this vocabulary, so they get the satisfaction of reading through this book with an interesting premise. As you went through the tutorial and gameplay in Kingdom Hearts, all of the cutscenes seem to leave you with something you need to learn more about, motivating you to move forward. Whether it's the fairy godmother introducing you to the summon creatures, or trying to unravel what Riku might have gone through now to be so angry at you, there's always something that gives you a reason to want to keep exploring the world. Now, the story of Kingdom Hearts is a long one that gets more complicated over time. Since your audience is kids and 10 and up, you need some kind of reward. You need some type of reward kids receive semi-regularly to keep up their motivation to keep making progress. One way Kingdom Hearts does this is by providing green HP and purple MP orbs when you defeat Heartless, beings with no hearts trying to plague the world in darkness. Literally, beating enemies allows you to take care of yourself and gain the strength to keep fighting. It's well known that a lot of students struggle to stay motivated to study things like math, since it can be so dry. In the past, we tried to motivate students and ourselves when we were kids by promising a reward for completing a whole assignment or getting a good grade on a report card that requires at least 3 months of consistent good performance with no intermediate reward. Kids can play video games for hours because so many of their actions in the game provide them an instant reward. Rather than trying to fight off video games that win kids' attention, we should learn from them and the success of those video games. Nowadays, more of our education is being moved online, and it's helpful to implement rewarding feedbacks for every correct answer the student provides. What motivates students can vary wildly, but one example of a simple motivator would be telling a student after each correct answer how many questions they have gotten right in a row. Competitive students will be motivated to continue performing well, to attempt to increase their streak. For others, like me, to be honest, providing a picture of a cute puppy randomly selected from Google for every correct answer would be helpful to keep us motivated. Kendra Cherry argues that people who are extrinsically motivated will continue to perform a task even though it might not be in of itself rewarding. It will take trial and error for students to figure out what motivates them. But I think Kingdom Hearts keeping kids hooked by providing multiple different modes of motivation shows if we can provide as many different modes of motivation within their education, we can get them a lot more invested in learning. The reason this constant reward system ends up working so well is because when you are doing something that is constantly providing extrinsic or intrinsic motivation and isn't too challenging, you enter a state called flow. The game switches between the different tasks you are doing and therefore the different types of motivation it gives you. This works to prevent the game from seeming repetitive. What is Kingdom Hearts itself trying to teach you? Well, it's teaching you to fight using its battle system, and it's teaching you about the places you are journeying to. A teacher may then move on to ask, okay, how does it check if you have gained those skills, if you've learned what you're supposed to? If we were supposed to use a system more similar to video games, how do we know if students are learning these things? Well, when you fight, you earn points for the enemies you beat in Kingdom Hearts. You move up in levels after earning a certain number of points. With every level gained, you gain something helpful, like a new ability, more HP, more MP, or more space to hold whatever abilities, which is known as AP in the game. So, point systems can be used when a student uses a skill correctly, and they can level up, earning rewards like extra minutes of recess over the year. Something else that moving to a more level-based system will provide students is the opportunity to apply adaptive difficulty. Stephen Callender, former game engineering team lead, explains that Filament Games, where he worked, creates have learning objectives, and for that there's a goal of adapting the game to each player so they can get through the game at their own pace and get measured by the level of difficulty they reach. This structure can be applied in multiple areas, for example, math. As you advance through a game, in order to achieve this advancement in levels, you need to be able to consistently build on your understanding of how everything you're learning connects together. This is known as constructivism. Kingdom Hearts, despite its long tutorial, doesn't explain everything to you. As Damon said earlier, curiosity is a huge lure to the game. The game gives you the blocks, so to speak, and tells you they are there, but you need to look into them and figure out how you can use them. It will tell you, for example, that you now have the wind ability, but it isn't until you use it initially and Sora yells defense that you start to realize that, oh, this is a spell that gives me defense. Now what can I do with this? Some may wonder, wait, this just seems like the game poorly teaches you how to play itself. It does, but on purpose. Kingdom Hearts introduces things partially to you like this, because no ability is meant for just one task or even one type of task. Blizzard is a neat, pretty ice attack, but guess what? You can also use it to burn that burner, to freeze that burner that Trickmaster in Alice in Wonderland World uses to light his high damaging causing torches. My personal woes in trying to study computer science at the university, I feel, came in part from the fact that during my K-12 education, I was always taught in a way that would present one type of problem having one solution. Very rarely was there any kind of demonstration that tools were used to solve different problems. Being able to think of how tools you have can solve different problems is super handy in Kingdom Hearts. Some would argue crucial. This kind of flexible thinking, if mastered, can make mastering so many school topics more efficient. Matthew Fowler, an assistant professor of educational technology at the University of Colorado, points out that in the past decade, researchers have shown that playing games can boost students' ability to think in systems. So many topics are taught in school with the aim that students think of them as a system. Knowing how math equations, vocabulary, chemicals, and critical thinking can be used in different environments will make it easier for you to grasp more complex topics. A lot is achieved in Kingdom Hearts with not too many tools. It had to be this way. Kids only have so much short-term memory especially. So teaching this constructive skill of flexible tool usage will put less strain on students' memories and help them solve problems more easily. So, Wolverine Soft is a game development club on campus. I hoped to join in one of their projects as a project manager, but didn't get in because I didn't have game dev experience. While I was waiting to hear back though, I got to talk to a lot of the members and befriend them. When I needed to find people to interview about Kingdom Hearts, I of course asked the literal club of gamers on Discord. Nikhil was one of the people I talked to, who first told me the introduction tutorial section was going to be long but helpful. Oftentimes, when I was stuck, I'd ask them for advice or I'd just express my frustration there. Aman, a community member, would tell me not to use the walkthroughs. A, because they'd spoil parts of the story. They did spoil a couple things, but they helped me when I was stuck and just tried to enjoy the game with the new knowledge. Another thing he actually said was that Kingdom Hearts 1 was the most rewarding game for your curiosity, confirming the intrinsic motivation aspect of the game. So basically walking through, like Kingdom Hearts is a game that rewards you for being curious and, using that curiosity to explore the game because that really helps unlock the game. That really helps unlock different aspects and different things in the game. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts is an old game which lead people who still consider them part of the fan base are more likely to be people who've studied the game inside and out, can answer a bunch of questions easily, which helps someone like me who might struggle to ask about the question I'm currently having, and can provide a lot of information the game never does about, for example, enemies, what you can get out of beating them. I found many walkthrough videos gave many helpful strategies for beating the bosses I struggled with. This joke was just great. So, I'm very happy and grateful I got the opportunity to finally play Kingdom Hearts. It kept me hooked with the story providing endless intrinsic motivation, constant extrinsic motivation, by making every Keyblade whack rewarding, and the state of flow I was put in while playing the game. This game was a huge hit around the world, with its franchise having sold 35 million copies worldwide, and most of its audience on release was students. If its methods were that successful in keeping kids hooked, I think using its methodologies in the classroom will do a lot to keep kids motivated and excited to learn. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think and any other suggestions for improvement or suggestions for future content. Thank you.